aka Hardware DC, coming to you live, or I guess as a recording depending on where you're at, with the Durmanhoth Clan News Network. We are here on days 5 and 6. Let me double check that. Let's see, we have the calendar here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So today we have, and tomorrow, we have Crusader, Tumbril, and MISC as the vendors that are available for us to view. Let me cut down the ambient sounds here, they can get annoying.
Hello and welcome to the 2951
All right, let's get to it. Once
Expo.
again, we're on New Babbage. This is the Tobin Expo Hall, where we have Invictus launch week this year. You can see over here we have some coffee to go. Oh, stupid steam. Let's see what we got over here. We got some, let's go purple because we're DC, right? Quick buy. All right. Yum, yum. Pretend this is a purple monster. Alright, we have a coffee vendor, which I don't think we stopped at last time. We've got some people standing around the map, but we already know where all the holes are. So here we are. Gaze in awe of the almighty Crusader Hercules Starliner series. Now what you're looking at, even though they look kind of the same in the light, is over here on the left is the Crusader M2. The M2 is the military version of the Hercules series. This is the C2 on your right. That is the civilian cargo version. And we'll go in them so you can see the differences. And besides your weapon hardpoints, there is a interior design change depending on which one you're in. But off there in the distance, just past those 3 tanks, that is the Planet Killer, the A2. Now the A2 does not have these ramps. Now you'll see in a second here that these are pass-throughs. You go in through the rear or through the front with your tank or vehicle, and you come out the other side. There's no turning around, there's no backing up. Unless you choose to do so. But these things are made for you to stack tanks in specifically and unload them. But we're going to walk past the 2 that we've seen and go back here. Now they're not letting you inside the A2, which was highly disappointing, but the A2 is not set to be released, I think, until patch 315. We're at 13 right now. So we have 2 patches to go. We'll come back and take a look at the tanks as well. But you got to look at the armament of the A2. I am not so nerdily familiar with the weapons to be able to tell you the exact sizing and what manufacturer all these weapons are. But this is obviously an under-the-nose turret, remote. That has to be remote for sure. Come back here, and on the undercarriage, I'm guessing these are pilot shootable. Generally speaking, the static ones are pilot usable, and the turrets are obviously other command chairs. Now these guns, there's one on each side. These are freaking huge. Now, if you went on the Javelin tour, these are obviously not as big as the Javelins. The Hercules is probably the size of the turret of the Javelin. Slight exaggeration only. But these are big. And I'm guessing that while you're driving or flying by, dropping a Moab on top of somebody's city and blowing up some mountain on some planet, that these will arc down and just beat the shit out of whatever's below you with a decent bombardment. There's another, looks like remote turret in the middle. Then we have this other gigantic super turret on the side. So you got two on the sides, one in the belly, and then one up in the nose. Can't get a top view of the Hercules A2. It does come standard black and red. Now I have the M2, and I splurged because one, I love the name, and two, because the color looks great. But the Cerberus paint skin for my M2 is a very interesting color black. I almost want to say it's got a hint of purple in it, which is perfect for us. But if it doesn't, and that's just some weird ambient lighting that I was looking at, black is fantastic. But for the A2 is black with red trim and massive. This thing is a carpet bomber. It's supposed to have all different variant types of bombs, as well as a Moab, mother of all bombs. It's supposed to drop a ginormous bomb down on a target, and that's what this thing is for. This thing has a hefty price tag of $700 in order to get it, but the firepower in this thing, I call it a planet killer, because I mean when this thing is unleashing hell underneath it, I can't see anything surviving. I mean, it's just insane. When I crawl up inside one of these, I'm going to see if I can get a top-down view. I'm pretty positive there have to be some remote turrets on the top of the A2 just for, you know, top defense and whatnot. But as you can see, underneath there's enough firepower to level just about anything out there. Well, since we're here, this is brand new to patch 3.13.1, I should say, because it didn't come out with 3.13.0. This is the TUMBRIL Nova tank. Now, you'll see I have a little bit of a symmetry issue, but this does not bother me just because it's so damn cool. But the turret is off-center. Why? I don't know. It's semi-irritating, but not too much. But you can see the break in the barrel. If you look right in the midsection, what happens is that front barrel shoots and it recoils in and comes back out like a slide action of a semi-automatic pistol, which is actually really cool to watch. And the blaze that comes out that nose when it shoots its ballistic round is huge. Things of note that these tracks all work independently, so you can obviously do 0 turns like a tank is supposed to. Each one of these wheels moves and moves the tread, so this thing does move about like a normal tank. Its stock paint job is this old school. I don't know what other countries might use it, but this is more of an old school army military pattern now that we're all digital. But you go in through the back door here, come into the back, and you can see that we're at some gold standard where you can open up the power plant area, you can open up the shield generators. Can you open up the shield generator? It's not letting me, but you're supposed to be able to. These compartments where you're able to pull out and fix your vehicle components. Same thing over here, we got another. There's the shield generator opening, it was just too far. We come on over here, we got a little bit of an armory, put a few weapons, have a couple extra for people. I'm guessing this maintenance access might pop up for something later down the road. We got some dials and doohickeys. I'm not sure if that's really going to do anything in the future, but it looks cool. Now this is your primary gunner. This is the turreter. I'm not a tank guy. I wish Rylex was on. I'd ask him what it's called, but this is the main gunner. And if you turn this on...
TUMBRIL hand systems. System check.
Is it going to let me? Yep. Well, come on. Enter remote turret. Here we are. Now it's not letting me turn. It is not. So I'll show you on mine. I had to have it. But this thing moves, and while the gun actually moves at a decent pace, your targeting reticle takes a second or two to catch up. So it's kind of interesting that you can't just spin this thing like a top and just start banging away at whatever's around. It is something that you got to kind of aim and do some devastating power. But I've heard ranges of 18 to 2400. I don't know what is more accurate than the other. I know I was firing at things at about the 1800 or so range, just playing around with it. But some people said that they had marked over 2,000 on a ship and we're hitting it. So we'll have to wait for Urkel. He may have updated it already, but he's usually very accurate as far as the capabilities. Now this is the co-pilot.
TUMBRIL and systems.
I don't know, I guess this
System
would be the
check.
commander chair, because instead of popping out of the top like a normal tank person could do, and use the top of the turret gun, we can find out where the hell you can click to jump up to it. It's the only thing that's kind of, there we go. Finding the switches sometimes can be a pain. All right. Really open. Okay, here we go. So you can see right in the middle there, you have two repeaters, laser repeaters that the co-pilot or commander can use. And you have obviously the primary stick that's coming out of the turret. And then you have, I believe somebody said 24 or 16. I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot of rockets. I don't know who fires that yet, but they can be used obviously to get rid of ships coming in to try to take it out. It is obviously going to do absolutely nothing against the A2, but I'm sure it's enough to get rid of some small ships and whatnot trying to take out tanks, or at least mark the tanks and try to take them out, or send somebody else to take them out. I'm not going to bother getting in the pilot chair. It's just a pilot. But with all the vehicles that have come out, I know this is Star Citizen. You're supposed to play out in space, yada yada yada. But the ground combat, the city building aspect, is something that I have been huge on for most of my gaming career. And I am thoroughly pleased to see that ground combat is being treated almost as highly as the space exploration and combat is going to be treated. And while I think there's some things that we need to figure out, and by we I mean them, because if I'm having a base and you're just going to bring an A2 and level it, what the hell is my tank going to do to stop that? What are my anti-aircraft turrets going to do to stop that? So there has to be a balance of sorts, I would imagine, to be able to sustain your outposts in your cities. But what that will entail down the road, I couldn't even tell you. We're going to go jump into my ship. I say mine, as in I own it, but this is not mine. So the functionality won't be there. But this is the M2. Now again, you can see the ramp in the front. It comes down from the nose. This is the ramp in the back. I thought they were going to fix the ramp issue. It's not touching the ground. It's better than when it was slamming the ground and causing it to bounce all over the place. Now look at the size of this this beast is giant. This thing is giant. Now I'm going to test it, but I believe each one of these sections can hold a tank. So I think this is a tank. From that beam to about here is a tank, and that beam to about here should be a tank. So I think you can get 3 tanks in here. Now you definitely can get 2, so you put 1 and 2 there, and then you can put a Cyclone, you can put a ton of Rangers obviously, which are the bikes which aren't out yet, your Ursa Rovers, your G12s eventually. I mean, you can load tons of shit in here. And you can also put your tanks here and here, and then the rest of it's cargo. So you have your ship that's going to take you where you need to go to drop off your cargo, and you unload some heavy artillery to protect the cargo while it's in transit. Now there are two ways to get up. There's the elevator, which is a wait sometimes, and then there's the stairs, which is semi-glitchy. We'll just take the ladder to get up here. You get up here, that right there looks reminiscent of the Mercury, obviously the Star Runner. This is the middle. This is kind of the bump out because you need this little space for the tank to fit. Also, there's a way that you can, I don't know how to do it, I had read somewhere, and seeing it downstairs, it looks like it's possible, that you can actually store the tank with that giant turret gun pushed in, like it had fired and retracted on a recoil, so it'll fit better, because I have noticed when I'm pulling the tank up the ramp that the gun is banging sometimes into the header of the belly of this ship. So I'm guessing you recoil the tank weapon and then it fits without a problem. But I haven't tried it yet. Either way, I can get the tank in with minimal to no damage anyway. But alright, so we're up here. There's a crossover to the two different sides for habitation of one kind or the other. And this one, the auxiliary, this is the primary difference between the C2 and the M2. Is that the M2 is also a functioning dropship. So you take a look around here and you'll see dropship seating. Now you'll have 12 people that can drop. You can take a leak and a shower. You got, I'm assuming maybe, you can store ammunition in there. Maybe, sort of, not sure. Back here you have some things that you can open up. Back here is the armory. This is some cool stuff here, because you've got long gun storage here. You have sub and handgun storage here. I'm guessing you can sit here and put your shoes on. Long gun storage here. Sub and handgun storage here. And then you can put your armor. Now, when the game is released, you won't be able to pilot with your gargantuan suits of armor. You won't be able to, I think I've heard, don't know yet, but you won't be able to walk around the cities in giant armor either, because just like the laws in a lot of states, you can't wear armor to defeat security or police in order to possibly commit a crime. And so they're not going to want you to do that either. If you are city side, they want you to be in soft clothes in order to be taken out if you're a bad guy. So anyway, these are going to be the pods that your military guys can put armor, and it will be persistent. So the armor that you see in these pods will be the armor that's there, and there will only be space in here for that armor. You can't take this pod and put 50 legs, 30 helmets, and then this one 100 chest pieces. This, I'm assuming, will be able to function as a solid armor suit storage. So you'll be able to put a helmet, your chest, your legs, your arms. That's it. But that's the long and short of it about the armory. But on the C2 I'll show you, but it's more of a living quarters. But this is a jump portion. So not only do you have a giant armored spaceship with decent weapons, flying tanks and ballistas, and whatever other armor you want to bring along. Now you can bring along at least 12 Marines, suited up, armored up, and ready to deploy as you're dropping off your precious cargo, or to go screw somebody over, because that's good times. Here's your bump out again, looking down this way, but this is really cool. Now if the lights are off, you can see them glowing now. All those electrical hoses glow. Now I don't know what kind of nuclear reactor or space shit that's going on down there. It's brighter than the sun, but it's pretty cool to look at. But that is, I'm assuming, like a major power core. But you come across, now this is the habitation area. The other side was the auxiliary for the M2 is military use. The habitation on both ships, barring some small variances, I think are pretty much the same. You got some lockers. Now, the difference in this M2 versus the C2 is you're going to have 1, 2, 3 bunks, because this ship can take 3 people to man it. You have a pilot, you have a co-pilot gunner, and you have a third gunner that sits in a third seat. On the C2, you have a pilot and a co-pilot / gunner. You don't have the third seat up in the cockpit. So on the C2, you'll notice when I walk through, in case I forget, I believe you just have the double bunks, and then this is probably a refrigerator or something, who knows. But here you can see, does this pop out? This doesn't pop out yet. That's the shower, but I think it's also a porta potty. Let's see if this one pops out. Maybe I gotta hit that. What the hell? Okay. There we go. Now I can pee. Or probably take a dump because I'm in the mood. But there you go. That's the habitat area. I'm assuming these screens will have functionality. If you're not up front in the cockpit, you can monitor your ship systems back here. They are looking at sustainable crew play, that you can move about the ship as an engineer or space janitor or something and take care of business. What do we got here? I don't know what that's closing. Oh! Hello. I didn't even notice that on mine. So all these little open component areas open up for the giant components that are going to be way too big for you to carry. Looks like skate pods, yep. So we hit that. Skate pod opens up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm guessing 8 Marines, or maybe 5 Marines, because the 3 in here are going to get to it first. They're going to be able to get the hell off the ship if it goes down. Here is the cockpit. Now this seat right here, this is your third turret. I believe it is the undernose turret. I'll have to check when we go into the C2. This is the third seating that's different from the C2. This is not here in the civilian version, the cargo line. Otherwise, you'll see Crusader seems to like to put their seats on treads and travel forward to do their flying. But this is your cockpit area. Well lit, little Millennium Falcon-y reminiscence of the circular hallways. But this is the Crusader M2 Hercules. This is the military variant. And again, besides the dropship section of the ship, the main differences are, from what I understand, is armor. The M2's armor is a little bit more, and the other weapon, the turret, and the M2's cargo capacity is a little bit less than the C2. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's not enough to matter because I'm not a cargo runner. I will take it if it's available, but there are some people that love the Drake Caterpillar and are waiting for their Hullies and whatnot to do massive truck driver, spaceship guy people stuff, and the C2 is made for that purpose. Now, as you can see in here, you can still move tanks. It's I really thought there was going to be a difference in the size so the tanks wouldn't fit, but there doesn't seem to be. And I really don't see the difference in the cargo, because this belly is where the cargo goes, and I don't know where we couldn't put enough cargo that the M2 couldn't carry as well. But, you know, it's space science, so you kind of go with it. Alright, we'll go up the ladder. What are we at here? Recreation. Now this is the auxiliary compartment. It goes over on the M2. This is the recreation. You got some books and some doodads and doohickeys. You got a giant TV. You got a couch to sit and relax. You got food storage, refrigerator. You got whatever the hell you put in that, who knows. You got some microwaves and coffee makers. You have you know, reminiscent of a buffet line where you put the silverware and your cups and bowls. And then you have a 4-person dining table. You have all this shit, and only 4 people can eat. But it's nice. It's a nice little mess area. Give this ship something a little different than what the military version would have. And then you come over to the habitation side. And again, minus... Okay, so it's not double bunks. It's side-by-side bunks. So there's 1 bunk, there's 2 bunks. Let me quadruple check. That does not open. I'm guessing maybe down the line. Storage? Maybe not. You got a desk to do stuff. You got another desk to do stuff. 2 beds. Take a leak. Take another leak. In case you both have to pee at the same time. And the nice thing is all of these lockers and storage areas open and close. So where on the other ship they were all open, you can open and close these, so it looks nice and put away. Right, going back to the main deck. You'll be able to see if you look down, it's the same big thing down the pike there. All the component storage areas. Coming into here, more component storage. I don't understand why there's so many doors. For the love of God, people. But here we go. See, you're missing your 3rd seat. I don't know if that computer will ever do anything, but you have the pilot and co-pilot here to take care of your flying and cargo needs. Never opened this up before. It's I'm guessing this is going to be the engineer panel. So if you take rounds, something blows up, there's going to be almost a game in a game where you can reroute power and reroute oxygen to areas that you need, blah, blah, blah. A little much in my opinion, but the reality or the realism of it is pretty neat. I'm not going to lie. All right, so that is the M2, the C2, and what they have not shown yet, and it is not released yet, the A2. That is what we have in your first haul. So that is one hell of a walk up the ramp. Whoever designed this room got it right. This is pretty cool. I'll give you this view one more time so you don't have to back up your recording to see it, but I mean shit, that just is picturesque to say the least. Alright, let's run to the right. Always go to the right. What do we got over here? And I gotta say, the way they set up these halls is pretty nice. They do a real good job. I wish they'd do the Polaris. I've probably bitched about that in every video, but the way they code the stuff to make themselves more money, they do a fantastic job. After they get the money, they don't seem to care as much. Alright, that pad over there is empty. You got 2 Mercury Star Runners. You got a few Tumbrils over here. What are we looking at here? Alright, that is the Tumbril MT. It's been dubbed the missile turret version, I'm guessing. I actually upgraded my TR, which was my turret one, which is just the gun, to this. Really cool. I wish they were atmospherically pressurized with a windshield and windows. The open view is kind of cool, but you have to wear a suit, and it would be nice to not have to, or at least not have to wear certain environment type suits, because if you're on an extremely cold planet or an extremely hot planet, why do I have to wear that bullshit if I'm inside a car? But it is what it is. I believe this is the RN. Yeah, oh, no, it's the AA. That doesn't make sense. I didn't see the rocket boat. I guess that's what they're calling the rockets. Oh, okay, so, okay, I've never seen the back end of an AA. So, the rockets are in the rear, pop up and launch. That's cool. I was going to do a video on these. I just haven't yet. The AA is anti-aircraft, and that is the specific point of that vehicle. Two issues with that vehicle are A, it is only anti-aircraft. Those rockets will not target ground vehicles or people or battery emplacements like the Gatling guns, missile launchers, stuff like that. This is an anti-ship cyclone. The missiles are not that big, and when you run out, you're empty. There is nothing else. So there's no guns. There is a wing and a prayer to get the hell out of wherever the hell you were at. But it'll definitely get somebody's attention, and then hopefully you can move some other apparatus over to take out the ship. This, however, you do have a turret as well as the rockets, and these rockets do target land vehicles. I don't know if they target people, but they do target battery emplacements, supposedly when those are in play around the cities or habitats, as well as ships. So while this is not only an upgrade from the TR, which is just the gun, it seems to be an upgrade from the AA. Why, I don't see why you'd even want it. Because once the AA is empty, you're running. This, you can still shoot at stuff. I believe this is the, I guess I can click it. This is the RN, I think. RN, alright. So my first impression of the RN was it was like a medical version of the TUMBRIL Cyclone. That is not true. The main thing for this vehicle is it is a light surveillance reconnaissance type vehicle and does scanning and collects data while you're on the ground. The other thing that it does, which is the primary reason why I got it, is that, I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but there's the geotags, that it's a beacon that you put to plot your land that you can build on. And the RN is the only vehicle, at least so far that I've read, that is supposed to be able to drop these beacons. So I wanted to make sure that I had one, so if I have a beacon, I can go put it down. Otherwise, I'll be standing there holding a beacon and not being able to do anything with it. So I actually just picked this up. It's a surveillance truck, so I mean it might do some good doing some forward recon, light recon, but as far as majority of warfare, I think it would just be easier to send a ship, to be honest with you. And this is the TUMBRIL TR. Again, this is the turret version. You jump in the back, you get up there and you have a minigun, or you can put a laser repeater, whatever you want to put on there, and you go pew pew as you race around, but so does that. And that has rockets. And the rockets can shoot everything from sky to land. So this, for what? I see this dropping dramatically in price, and that going up, because this is just, it's unnecessary at this point. But that's my opinion. Maybe there's a reason. Alright, these are Star Runners. I know they just came out. I don't know why there's two. Mercury Star Runner. It's a regular one. This one over here, limited edition or just a different paint job? I did go get a different paint job on mine. It's just a Mercury Star Runner. So, these have been out for a patch, so I'm not going to do the walkthrough of these yet. I'm actually going to do a ship informational on some of the ships and get a little bit more about the armaments and the loadouts of them. So we'll do that at another time. I guess it is white. We'll do that at another time because I have this ship, so I can do it. The cool thing about this ship, let's just show you really quick. If you're not aware, this ship is probably more multi-role than the Cutlass Black. The cool thing about it, somebody opened it, you bastards. Alright, let's close this. Let's not look. Da-da-da-da-da, do-do-do, nothing to see here. Let's close this up. Boom, okay. Oh, look at me, I'm inside a Mercury Star Runner, and I probably have no idea what I'm looking at. Oh, look at this. This all looks the same. Nothing to see here. Nothing suspicious at all. Oh, but if you know, you know. Come over to the secret access panel. Boom. What does that open? They all say access. They all look like storage containers. Hit open. Boom. Han Solo, eat your heart out. As you walk in, you are now in a secret area under the ship. And there are ports that you can go up to. I'll show you the secret on how to get down here from inside the ship. It's actually really cool. You move some chess pieces around. But this is a smuggling area. And the cool thing about the smuggling area is that you can't be scanned in here. Well, we gotta work on the lighting, that's weird. You can't be scanned in here. So you put your death sticks and your other narcotics and bodies or whatever in here, and when the security guards, the security agencies come scan your ship, they're not supposed to be able to see what's in here. But obviously everybody and their grandmother knows that that exists, so if you actually get a human to board you, then that's obviously where they're going first. And then you go upstairs, and this does data running. This does cargo hauling. This does small transport. You can get an Ursa rover in here, a couple Cyclones, some hover bikes. This, it costs twice as much as the Cutlass Black, but it does a lot more than the Cutlass Black too. So if you can stretch it, I would definitely recommend this ship as a ship of jack of all trades, because you literally can do just about everything in it. And its armaments, its weapon capability is pretty decent as well. And I think it only takes, I want to say 3, maybe 4, but I think it's like 3 to really man the turrets and help fly. So it's definitely the best ship for multi-role, and it can do data running. Whereas the Cutlass Black does a little cargo hauling, does a little vehicle moving. So it's multi-role, but it is not that. I'm breathing heavy because apparently I am a fat ass. Probably shouldn't have to wear my helmet, but that Paladin helmet is so cool, so I'm not going to take it off. Oh, this is the F8 Lightning that we've seen every time we've come down here for Squadron 999. This is without ship degradation, obviously. It's nice and shiny, pretty and new looking. The first one we saw looked like this. The one we just saw during the Aegis days, I think, had the degradation on it. So it was dirty, a little rusty, needed some work. So they're just showing off the new aspects of the vehicle degradation. They will, in time, put out The same thing for armor, for buildings at your cities, for your weapons. Everything will look worn, will begin to look old, will begin to look used, and the only way to fix that is by repairing it, or like one of the spaceships, you go refuel, rearm, and they wash it for you. It's kind of like a little car wash extra. But that's going to be how you get rid of that. Maybe you can not do it, so you can keep some of that look on your ship to give you kind of that personalized look. But that's where you're going to be able to do it at. Look at the size of those freaking components. I mean, like literally. Some of these are giant. So you're going to need trolleys for that. Shit, even those, you might need cranes or an SRV. Alright, coming up on the other side. We have the lightning again. I know I have a Harbinger. I know I have a Scorpius now, but that ship just looks meaty. I want it. Alright, walking down to the next hall. Alright, in here we have MISC. Got one of the freelancers. I am not a freelancer guy, but was this a Dur? This? Okay, it's a miss. Yeah, I have no clue. This is one of the more common ships out there. It was one of the first ones, I think, done in that area of. I believe this is the military gunship version, but it's a cargo hauler. You can get some vehicles in these. This has the turret. Yeah, I've flown this just for shits and giggles. Getting the turreted stuff through this causes some collision issues. And then as soon as you cause collision on a ship, all that shit starts bouncing around, having seizures, and then just fucking ignites and blows up, and the back of your ship goes sailing to another planet. So I don't do it, but it can be done. I've seen it done. This is a Razor. I don't know which one this is. EX. I also know almost nothing about the Razors. I believe they're racer models, and then there's a stealth model. Let's see what this says here. Stealth. Okay, this one's the stealth. Pause that so you can read that at your leisure. But it's a very low profile area, very low cross-section ship, very quick, and again, that seems like a reconnaissance, kind of the floor of the planet skimmer, and ride along and figure out where you're going. This is another ship series I'm not a fan of. This is the MISC Reliant Tana. There's like 4 of them. I don't know why, but I believe this is the fighter version of it as well. Well, it's military weeks, obviously it's the fighter version. They're okay. Not my flavor, I suppose, but they're interesting looking. Cool front end though. I mean, you got yourself a view, that's for sure. Kind of like the way the Constellations should have looked. Much thinner, much smaller struts. You can look out and see the world around you. That's a 2-seater. Now the Starfarer, I'm not even going to go through that. I have it. Maybe I'll practice on it and do I don't have it. I have a, what is that from? I think that's from my Endeavor. I think it gave me the Gemini. There's a Starfarer and a Starfarer Gemini. The Starfarer Gemini is the military gunship version. of a fuel hauler. The regular one I just think is missing a turret, maybe 2 turrets, and maybe some armor, but otherwise it's the same thing. This is your gas hauler, and you can send this out to refuel. Now the biggest feature about Starfarer, and I think they're going back on their word, which is a shame, because you can take the Starfarer to a space station or a city and fill it with whatever you want to put in it, and then take it out and refuel and help your fleet, help somebody stuck, do whatever. But the biggest sell of that, in my opinion, that's the Eclipse, by the way, on the wall, the Eclipse stealth bomber. And of course, that's the Javelin. Anyway, sorry, I just fell off the track. The biggest selling point on that ship for me was the fact that it has scoops that when you fly through gas clouds, it's supposed to take in those properties, manufacture, and put those gas cloud minerals and chemicals, process that, and then make fuel out of it. So you, one, can make your own fuel as you fly around, and 2, make your own fuel for you, and you'll never run out. I guess unless you never go through a gas cloud. But I thought that was kind of cool, but I thought they said they weren't doing that. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I hope that the scoops will work on that and that you can collect your own gas. These are all the cyclones again, set up. Last time I walked on that rock shit, I died, so I'm not gonna bother. Another map. We got some history. I already stopped, I think, in one of my videos, but I guess I can do it again here. Let's get out of. We'll do it a little closer. You can stop and look. You can stop and look. Stop and look. And you can stop and look. Over here looks like the tank. Yep, that's the tank. The Nova tank. They also call it the Tonk. I'm not going to call it the Tonk. I'm just not going to do it. I'll say it this one time, and it will never be said again from me. It is a tank. To call it anything else is uncivilized. Now, these I'm kind of looking forward to. I have a motorcycle in real life, so bikes are kind of fun. And to have a biking game is going to be a blast. This is the combat. This is the Ranger TR. TR usually seems to be the combat variant. Obviously, this doesn't have a turret, but the TR is the guns. So this is a motorcycle. It is a 2-wheel. I'm assuming it has a feel sort of like the Cyclone drive-wise, but you can see the 2 large cannons that are on either side of it, and you can ride it. Now, the only thing that I was kind of hoping for, but apparently not, is that the Dragonfly, which is a hover bike, uses a 2-seater. You have one guy sitting forward, one guy sitting backwards. I mean, it's 2-person deployment. The Rangers all look like single-seaters. Kind of thought maybe they'd have a sidecar on one. That might be kind of cool. I don't know if I'd have it, but I thought that would be a neat idea. But it looks like it's just another single-seater. But instead of this being a hover bike, it's going to be on the ground. Now, the hover bikes are freaking fun, but they suck trying to put them into a ship because of their hovering nature. And they suck when you get off on accident and they float up into the sky and you can't, you gotta keep jumping and jumping and try to jump back onto it to bring it back down. Alright, now this is the Crusader Ares, and then there's the Inferno. No, I'm sorry. It is the Crusader Ares is the ship. This is the Inferno, which is the Gatling ballistic gun. there is another variant. I'm not going to bother looking it up. I'm surprised they didn't have both. But there's another variant. So this thing, I think this is a size 7, if I'm not mistaken. This is a size 7. So, for those of you in the U.S. or out of the U.S., if you know what the A-10 Warthog is, some Air Force general said, I want you to make the biggest gun you possibly can and then build a ship around it. And so they made this plane with a spine Gatling gun that is probably the coolest, one of the coolest things ever invented by the U.S. military, in my opinion. Everybody loves an A-10 Warthog. The brrr sound, that doesn't even sound like that. It's an awesome piece of machinery. This is that variant. This is the ballistic version. The other version, which is not the Inferno, I just don't remember what it's called, that is a size 7 laser. So you have this version, which is black. The skin, the original skin is black for the Gatling gun, and the other variant of the Ares that is a laser, I believe is white. But very cool. Definitely a Crusader ass to this ship. I owned one of these and I upgraded to other stuff. They're just so cool. I just don't know if I'd use it. I keep trying to make a decision, but these pop back up all the time, so there's no rush. But that is it, people. I believe. Let's run up the stairs and make sure that the other side is the same thing. And I want to double check, because if you saw the last one for Aegis, I missed one of the wings and I apologize. And for those of you that like stealth vehicles, I was very surprised that the Eclipse wasn't there. And sure as shit, I go back with some guys from the org, just kind of walking around, and I wandered down the wrong wing, and there the Eclipse was. So I was kind of mad. But I rented the Eclipse, so we'll take a look at that later. This is not snaking back to the right, so let's go venture forth. Or did it? I can't tell. We'll just run it real quick. Let's see. Nope, danger. Alright, so that's it. That is going to be day, what are we looking at? 25, 26 of May. The next one coming up will be the 27th and 28th. That'll be Anvil. So if you haven't gotten a chance to see this, the Crusader one today, you have tomorrow, the 26th. And I'm telling you, if you go to one of these, I mean, Drake is always usually pretty cool too, but to see these Hercules in person, especially if you're the occasional drop-in to check in on the game, this is something to take a look at. These ships are not cheap, granted. The A2 is the most expensive in the back at 7. I think this is 3 something, and that's high 4s, low 5s. It's been a while. I'd have to double check. But these are not cheap ships, but they're giants, and they have a specific purpose. And that purpose, at least specifically for me, is the transportation of our armor divisions when we build our cities or decide to go after somebody else's. And then the cargo option for me, because I'm not a cargo hauler, but now I have a large ship that if I have the money and the means, we'll float some cargo on the way to wherever we're going. And it's nice to have that option. But alright guys, that is it. That is Crusader, Tumbril, and MISC at the Invictus Launch Week. If you have any comments, questions, go ahead and leave them down below. Again, I'm Hardware. This is the Durmanhoth Clan Network here at Fleet Week 2951. And we'll see you in the verse.